Hey everybody, Miss Dietrich here. We're taking a look at a tricky question. Which value or values for the variable c from the set below will make this inequality true? And they give you these numbers to examine. All right, so here I rewrote, even though it's a little bit blurry, I rewrote the inequality down here. And the first thing we want to do is we want to try to isolate the variable or get the variable on one side. So I'm going to propose that we take this and try to get it over here. And the way we would do that is we would apply the inverse operation to this. The opposite of add 4/10 c would be to subtract 4/10 c. And we'd have to do it over here as well. Now there's a little bit of a problem with this because it's kind of too hard to see what the answer would be the way I have it written here. Hopefully everybody knows that this would cancel out. We would copy this over again. And we would copy this symbol over again. But we have to think about how many c's do we have left over here. I think we should probably rewrite this. Let's rethink the 6 is 6 and no tenths c. And then we'll copy this neatly underneath so that our decimals are lined up. And when we look at it that way, I think it'll just make it a little bit easier to see what the actual answer is or the difference. All right, we can't take 4 away from nothing. We need to rename. 10 minus 4 would be 6. Bring the decimal down, and then 5 minus nothing is 5. So we end up getting 5 and 6/10 c. So I already have the c. We'll rewrite the 5 and 6/10 again. All right, now when we get to this point, same thing. We want to try to isolate the variable. What's the opposite of multiply a variable by 5 and 6/10? And that would be to divide by 5 and 6/10, and it just happens to be coincidence that we have the same number over here, but we won't let that confuse us and intimidate us. All right, this all cancels out. This divided by this would be 1, and 1 times c would be c. Carefully copy the symbol, and then 5 and 6/10 divided by 5 and 6/10 would be 1. Now, one of the things that even I didn't see the first time, I sort of ignored this for some reason, is the fact that we have the variable on the right. And we've been, in class, we've been talking a lot about if the variable is on the left. If we wanted to rewrite this, because the way we currently have it, 1 is less than or equal to c, which means that if for some reason we wanted to write it this way, we would have to reverse the symbol and rewrite this as c and then just flip the symbol going the other way. Would have to be greater than or equal to 1. So these are both true, but because we've been looking at our inequalities mostly with the variable on the left, this might be more helpful for us to graph it. All right, now if we graph this, in fact I think I'll put the graph over here, and we write the number 1, and we think about what this means. C is greater than or equal to 1. That means that 1 would be included, and we'd be shading to the right. Now this graph would also fit this as well. It's the same thing, but this is just easier for a lot of folks to understand. All right, now let's look at the choices. This is the set they want us to look at. Does 0 fall on this number line? 0 would fall over here, so we're not going to pick that. 875 thousandths, that's a little bit less than 1. It's close to 1, but it's not quite 1. So we're going to reject that. The only thing left you have to do is decide, is 1 fall on the line? Because remember, this is a shaded in circle. 1 is included in the set. We have the or equal to thing underneath the symbol. Ask yourself, does 1 get included? And is 2.5 also on the screen line? And if it is, then you're going to go ahead and pick B. If you're saying that's not true, then you need to examine the other 2 choices and pick the one that you believe is true from the remaining choices. All right, good luck finishing that up.